friends, I'm Penny Hunt and this is Heart to Heart. Today I want to talk to you about my grandmother. It's going to be a fun story, but first I want to remind you that I'm giving away books. If you want to be in the drawing for this week's book giveaway, you just need to write in the comment line, "I'd love your book," and you'll be in this week's drawing. And I will let you know on Sunday who won for this week, and I'll get that out in the mail to them as soon as I can. I know right now we're supposed to stay home and stay tucked in, and so that might be a week or so, or who knows, before I can get them in the mail, but you will receive your book. Heart to Heart. What a great title to talk about my grandmother. I want to tell you what a memory maker she was. My grandmother did not live close to me. In fact, I grew up in a military family, so we moved around a bit, and my grandmother did not live close to me. So I saw her maybe once a year, if I was really lucky, twice a year. But I adored her. Her name was Grandma Betty. And Grandma Betty was not, I think, a typical grandmother, or maybe she was and I just didn't know it, but she was magic to me. Every moment I got to spend with Grandma Betty was not just sitting around or doing something that you would call normal. Everything she did with flair and with excitement and spurred imagination and enthusiasm. She lived in Illinois, and we would go visit her, and her property bordered state park property. So there was a creek there and a woods, and it was magical. It was like going into the magic woods. And she would pack lunches for us, my brother and sister and I, and we would walk back into these woods and hike along the creek, and we would take our shoes off and we'd put our feet in the water, and the sunfish would nibble on our toes, and she would teach us about nature and about life. And it was every moment with her was a memory. She was a memory maker. It wasn't, oh, we just saw Grandma Betty. It was, we did this with Grandma Betty. And even if it was simple times, we could sit on her porch swing in front of her house and just listen to her talk. And just the stories that she would tell us and the things that she would teach us were so embedded in my mind, in those little wrinkles in our mind where we keep our memories. She was a magic person. She held my heart, and I held her in my heart all those years growing up. My Grandma Betty has been gone many years now, but I still can remember every moment with her. She's the one that taught me how to decorate cakes, and she had me making roses out of frosting when I was probably in second or third grade, maybe younger. She taught me how to paint and sparked that love inside of me for creating. And you hear me talk sometimes about my painting, and sometimes even when I'm painting or I'm making those flowers out of frosting, I look at my hands and I can see my grandma's hands. That is how close I felt to her. And that is what an impression she made on me. As a little girl growing up, and even as a young woman, when I got married and started having babies, and she would call and talk to me. And now, as we often do, I think back and wish so much I could talk to her today and ask her questions, because ironically, so many things in my life have paralleled what happened to her in her life. And I find that fascinating. Someone that I felt so drawn to and so close to, and how our lives have taken so many of the same turns. So why am I telling you about my Grandma Betty today and about her memory making and how she was a memory maker? I'm telling you because of what's going on in the world right now. We all know what's going on. It's unprecedented. We've never been in a situation like this where we've been told to stay in our homes, stay safe. If we go out, wear a mask. if we see other people, to stay 6 feet away from them. We've never had this kind of confinement and suggestions of how to stay safe, and fear. I think so much fear is circling our world right now because we're so uncertain about when this might end. We have fear of one of our loved ones or us getting this virus, and maybe you are struggling because someone you love has it. So many things, so much uncertainty going on around us. So when I thought of my Grandma Betty today, I thought, what an opportunity we have right now to be memory makers, just like my grandma. I know that there's certain things embedded in our minds that we will never forget. For me as a child, I remember when JFK was shot. I remember walking home from school. They closed schools. I think we all will never forget 9/11. Those kind of memories and things that happen in the world are embedded in our mind. So of course we are all going to remember the coronavirus time. We're all going to remember this. Our children are going to remember this time in their life like nothing else, when they couldn't go to school, when they had to stay home. So what a great opportunity we have to be memory makers for them, to do special things with them. And I know I'm very empathetic for the people who are working at home and trying to do their full-time job, and now they've got kids home and they're trying to homeschool them and they're overwhelmed. I am very empathetic to the ones who don't have jobs right now and are struggling with income and worried about where the income's going to come from. All of those worries are jumbled up in this big cloud of uncertainty that we're living with right now. But what if we took some little snippets of time, some little moments to be memory makers? I could think of so many things. I've mentioned before that one of the struggles I have is I'm such a people person. I want to touch people. I want to hug them. I want to kiss my grandbaby's cheeks. And we are so lucky to have this technology where we can FaceTime and see faces, but it's not the same. It's not the same as hugging those grandbabies and kissing their cheeks. And how I miss my adult children. It's interesting, and friends, and how this connection, this personal connection that we're missing right now. But take moments and be a memory maker. Take your family room and take every blanket you have and build the biggest fort you can with your kids. And let them play. They will remember it. They will think back and think, remember that coronavirus time when we didn't have school for 3 months, but Mom and Dad were home with us, and we made those forts. And think of things that you could do that maybe you normally don't have time to do to be a memory maker. And if you don't have children, if you have a significant other with you, take the time to come up with ideas to be a memory maker with them, with your spouse. And if you're alone, what a magical time you have to spend time with yourself and really think about some of the things that I've taught you before about how to come up with what your mission in life maybe should be, what you really want to do for your life. Really get to know yourself and be a memory maker for yourself so that you remember the coronavirus time was the time I had that space where I could really spend time with myself. I could really do some inner work. I could really get to know myself in a way I hadn't before. And also, all the other tips, the virtual game night that I've told you about, that I've played Yahtzee and bingo with a half a dozen or a dozen people on the Zoom screen, those are the kind of things we're going to remember. We all have the capacity right now to be a memory maker for ourselves, for the people that we love, and especially for kids. So, I have included in the writing here with this video a link to my story, Memory Maker, which is about my Grandma Betty. And I encourage you to read that, and you will get to know her in a better way. And there's pictures of her there so you can see what she looks like. And also, I would love it if you would share with me what kind of memories you're making. I've seen people as a family do TikTok, which I don't really know about, dances and things that they're doing. They take turns cooking. I mean, share with me the things that you're doing that are making memories and you didn't even realize it. I'd love to hear them. I want to remind you before I sign off that I'm giving away books. If you want one of my books, all you have to do in the comment line is write, "I'd love your book," and you'll be in this week's drawing, and I'll get it mailed out to you as soon as I can. I thank you for your time. I am thrilled to see the names of people that are joining me and hear the comments and hear the reaction afterwards. I get emails and notes, which is touching to my heart. So I shared a very personal story of one of my favorite people in my whole life, my Grandma Betty, today. I'm Pennie Hunt. This has been Pennie Heart to Heart. Thanks for watching.